Hello and welcome, my crustaceans from another gestation. It's SJB here, and this is my personal top 5 underrated, underutilized towers in Bloons Tower Defense 6. These are towers that I think people use way too little, or just write them off as kind of crappy and unusable almost in most situations. But today, we're going to switch it up on you guys. We're going to actually use them all combined together and truly beat a real chimps game. Now, this is sort of planned out where I know which towers I want to get, and I know roughly which order I want to get them, but we're still going to have to play things by ear a little bit. And, of course, I'm going to be using my hero that I think is also probably one of the most underutilized heroes in the game, Adora. Alright, I'm not going to be going for the Ninja Adora combo, though. I think that's a little bit overused, probably. But either which way, Adora is one of those heroes that I really feel like a lot of people just see her, and they're like, yeah. Nah, I'd rather go for somebody else instead. He's probably not worth it. But I think that, you know, even when she was, like, pretty bad, she was still good in my book. A lot of people would say she freaking sucks. She's actually the worst chimps hero in the entire game. But then they buffed her, and then they buffed her again. And I was like, dude, I already thought she was pretty good. And then you're buffing her, and you're making it even buff-tastic. I mean, look at these arms over here. Buff Daddy Adora. Buff Mommy Adora. So, either which way, Adora is my hero for today, and we're going to have to wait a few rounds here before I get my first underrated tower in the game, but it's coming pretty quick, actually. I just want to mention it, not because it's super important, but also because it's just something to notice. Spike-a-Pult could also be kind of included in this, but really I'm talking about the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut, in my opinion, one of the most underutilized, underrated towers in Bloons Tower Defense 6. He has to be used in a very specific way. You have to pretty much guarantee these on last, or at the very least strong. You have to put him down in an area where there's a straight line, which I feel like a lot of beginner and intermediate maps have decent straight lines like this, but long term, maybe not all maps have that, so I see why the Juggernaut might be a little bit bad in certain situations. On top of that, he can shoot his Juggernaut bolt off of walls. So if he plays somewhere like the maze or balanced or something like that, this guy can actually be used even more effectively. But don't forget, he does double damage here, so he's going from a blue balloon down to just straight up nothing. He's got a crap ton of pierce, obviously, because he pretty much never hits his limit unless you're going late game. And then on top of that, he also has that extra ceramic popping power and does extra damage. I don't think it's extra damage, but it says excels against leads. Oh, and fortified balloons. Bonus damage against ceramic and fortified balloons. Freaking ridiculous for a $2,000-ish tower. Now, as far as I'm concerned, in every situation, go for the quick shots and the very quick shots and just save your money. Get cam detection in some other way and make sure you're actually using your best tower or your good tower the most effective way possible. You get so much extra damage out of him. We can always give him village cam detection later anyways, so it doesn't even really matter. So that's the first tower that I definitely recommend you start using if you can. As you can probably tell by now, like, nobody's even really getting much popping power. I mean, the Juggernaut's just owning everything. Adora's sort of cleaning up just a little bit over here, and Boomerang's, like, barely just popping just because he's there. But Juggernaut's beating everything for us. So, maybe, just maybe you think SJB is an underrated, YouTuber. And maybe you want to support the underrated people. If you do, use my creative support code. Thank you, guys. This next round is actually going to require a little bit of micro, but we're getting ready for our second underrated tower of the game. It's going to be a Bloon Impact. Now, I don't think we're going to be able to afford it for around 40, but I think that's okay. We're going to laser shock through this guy. This guy will still end up doing a lot of damage. Actually, it's going to be close. Yeah, super close, but we cannot afford it. So we're going to go for the fast reload missile launcher instead. We're going to focus on using our laser shock to pop the Moab here. And hopefully the cannon and Adora combo can still clean up enough of these balloons. And I think it's going to go pretty well. Oh, a Juggernaut, of course. Clean up the ceramics, no problemo. Oh, easy peasy, boys. So now we're going to clean up with this next Bloon Impact. You know what? I could probably survive with just this one Dartling gun for now. But I got to get that cam detection soon, so I'm probably going to switch away from this. But let's talk about the Bloon Impact. It's got one decent weakness. It's got a Moab weakness. But if you're only weak against one thing and you're good against everything else, is it really even a weakness anymore? Or is it just kind of like a, of course you're not great against everything, you know? I mean, that's, oh yeah, this is really close, but we will end up taking it down. All right, I need that cam detection, guys. Let's lock this guy in place for a second. Let's get a quick village and get the cam detection up just so we can have it. And I put all of my towers in this very specific location so everybody could get cam detection, and eventually, if I want primary training, I can get that too. So here we go. We're going to go for a radar scanner here. Get the bigger radius just so everybody's got that camo detection. We're good on camos for forever. But the reason why this guy is so good is because it obviously is going to pop a lot of balloons in the early game, but it's actually really good in the late game as well. It's one of the only towers in the entire game that actually, I think, round 80 plus might become better than round 80 and down. And the reason why is because there's a lot of balloons that pop out of ceramics over here. When a ceramic pops, it pops into 2 rainbows. When those 2 rainbows pop, they pop into 4 zebras. When those 4 zebras pop, they pop into 4 blacks and 4 whites. Like, you can see how the extrapolation gets pretty ridiculous. 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16. It just gets ridiculous very, very quickly once you get down to pigs. But once you reach 80 plus, that is not what happens. 1 ceramic turns into 1 rainbow, turns into 1 zebra, turns into whatever. And the big problem is actually the ceramic layer. The ceramics can have 20 health, or 40 health, or anywhere in between all of that with all the ramping and everything going on. So, this guy is one of the only things that can actually stun the ceramics, and just keep them on the screen. Keep them on the screen, let the other towers do the damage by stunning them for forever. Alright, so next on the list, we're already ready for it. We're going to go for a laser cannon here, because this is not the underrated tower, even though I think it is also underused. But really, it's the plasma accelerator. The plasma accelerator is a weird tower because you actually have to micro it. Locking in place like this, it works. Don't get me wrong, it's not horrible, but you can usually do better. You can usually actually actively micro, specifically if you're trying to deal with Moab class balloons. And if you're willing to micro this guy and actually just put him in the front here, go on a Moab, he's ridiculously powerful. And I don't even have jungle drums or any other buffs on him. This is just him as a plain old tower. Moabs come in, Moabs die. Yeah, Plasma Accelerator, underrated. Chicka chicka boom boom. Now, you can use Plasma Accelerators in other weird ways, like against boss balloons and stuff like that. Or, with some people, they like to think Plasma Accelerator is only useful if you're going to use a plasma pool. But I would disagree with that a little bit. So, we're going to use this guy for a long time and actually, hopefully, use him well. Now, at this point in the game, we can probably just lock him in place here because it's not that big of a deal. But later on, I probably will end up actually microing them and whatnot. You guys know me, I like to show off round 63 because every once in a while, you just struggle when you know you shouldn't be struggling. So this is exactly what this cannon's perfect for. Just stun those things for forever. It's pretty awesome. Anyways, here's round 63. Let's show off our combo, our team. Oh my goodness gracious. Round 63. It's got nothing on us. Juggernaut is doing mega damage. I got the boomerang here, which is also doing mega damage. And Plasma Accelerator is just cleaning up. I don't even think this guy had to pop any balloons. We got 3,000 pops so far. It's actually kind of crazy how little pops he actually has. For comparatively, 32,000, 39,000. Adora's at 11k, and this guy's only at 13k, but it is what it is. Anyways, I'm going to do a little bit more active micro here, but I'll meet you guys back in maybe like 10 rounds or so when I get my next big boy underrated tower. We're already ready on round 74 for a 5th tier tower using this strategy. If that doesn't say something, I don't know what does. Now, before I actually go too much deeper here, I just want to mention really quickly that, of course, this is underutilized towers based on what I've seen and based on what I use in the game. But I do know that a lot of people have different playstyles, so if you're just saying, wow, Chris, these are actually the towers that I use the most in Bloons Tower Defense 6, that's completely fine. That's completely acceptable. But I do want to know, what are your most underutilized or underused towers in the game, and how do they differ from mine? Which ones do you think I missed, or do you think that I should add to this list over here if I ever decide to do another list? Of course, the game's always changing and adapting based on what Ninja Kiwi decides to update and all that stuff, but these are towers that I've noticed that I kind of like using, and I just don't use them enough. So anyways, here's our next guy. We're going to go for the Glade Lord. Now, this guy's been voted multiple times as the least useful tower in Chimps mode, or just the least useful tower in all of Bloons Tower Defense 6 multiple times over again. Frickin' Glade Lord. What? Why is he so bad? First of all, my positioning may not be optimal. I'm going to be honest with you guys on this one. I tried to put him, I was deciding if I wanted to put him over here or over here, and I decided I want to put him here because I wanted to have him help me more in the early game, and I couldn't reach down here without getting upgrades early on. So, I decided to go for Glade Lord over here, and hopefully you guys just don't mind this positioning. Probably could be a smidge better, but don't underestimate. Once we finally get jungle drums and primary training and everything, he's gonna be okay. All right. Plus, the main thing that I actually wanted to use him for was not necessarily balloon popping power, but more just overall Moab or mid-ish Moab popping power. So, like, once BFBs pop or so my god's popping down into BFBs, that's what the Glade Lord's good against. Even though he can do a great job against ceramics, that's not necessarily what I need him for. So, what is this guy good against? Well, pretty much everything. The bigger the balloon, the worse he is. So, against some of my gods here, he's not going to be as great as against ceramics or Moabs or even BFBs, but he's definitely not bad against any of those. You can tell he's already got 123,000 pops, and I've been using this guy the entire game to pop pretty much everything. You can just see this guy's pop count just skyrocket. He's doing most of the work right now. The freaking Glade Lord. 80 plus, this guy is still a pretty big powerhouse. If you notice, he's also got a regular shot that jumps to each individual Moab here. You can see the weird little whiteness on top of those Moabs. That's him just specifically aiming that one balloon. And he basically just does extra damage to them. So, even against the biggest of balloons, he has, I don't want to call it like no weakness, but his weaknesses have been buffed. So even though that used to be something that was a big deal, now it's just sort of a small-ish deal. Either which way, though, Glade Lord still one of my top-tier towers in the game, if you can use him properly, specifically on maps where there's only either one entrance or one exit, where you can use this guy optimally. Either which way, though, things are still going very well, and we still have one more for sure tower that I want to show you guys. And you only want to get this guy after round 80, in my opinion. Though you can build him before round 80, he's probably not as good. It's going to be an Alchemist, and believe it or not, it's going to be a 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh. I'm also going to go for the faster throwing and acid pool. I remember somebody telling me, actually, that there is a specific cross path that I should go for when I'm getting Transforming Tonic, and if I remember correctly, I believe it was the bottom path. I believe it makes him slightly more powerful just because you're spending slightly more money on him. But it's going to make the Transforming Tonic more powerful, but it'll make the third tier less powerful, kind of. Usually bigger potions, just nicer to have on the screen. And we're going to leave this guy on strong right now, and the reason why we're getting a Transforming Tonic is mostly for the ability. But the only reason you want to get this guy before round 80 is because the third tier is only really useful for round 80, and getting the third tier, spending like $6,000-$7,000 just to get this guy going early on in the game just seems kind of worthless. So wait until round, 80 plus, whatever you're really feeling it, and go up to the third tier, and then when you're ready for it, go for a Transforming Tonic. Now, this guy's going to be extra specially good against the bigger balloons, which we're kind of having a weakness against. This is not a bad amount of popping power. Getting 1,000 or 2,000 pops off of a Oh My God for only a couple $1,000s with a pretty long-lasting ability here is actually pretty freaking sweet. So, do not underestimate this guy, man. That's all I'm saying. Now, that's actually our 5 most underrated towers in Bloons Fit 6 already by round 86. We've got the Jug, we've got the Glade Thrower, Glade Lord, we've got the Balloon Impact, we've got this Plasma Accelerator here, and then, of course, the Transforming Tonic. And then our hero is Adora. But I have one other one that I wanted to build here because I think it's kind of fun, kind of as a bonus. If we wanted to go for 6 most underrated towers in the game, this would be one that I still think you should probably add in your game. We're going to go for the Super Maelstrom. Alright, this guy's a weird one. To me, I like it. I like it a lot. I love the ability here, and I feel like you can use it every round, if not multiple times per round, to just demolish the freaking balloons. It's kind of ridiculous how OP this thing is, but it's got some weaknesses, bad balloons, and things like that. You know, obviously we can't pop everything with it. But if you have this guy in range of all of these combos, specifically with Primary Mentoring, you can go crazy with Primary Expertise. It ends up being really powerful. And one thing you're going to notice about a lot of the things that I'm using here, I wouldn't call it majority, but 2 out of the 5 things here, 2 out of the 6 things here have abilities that we actually have to use, and actually have to use them pretty actively here. Don't forget this guy's also got lead popping power, so against around 90, 93, 95, and 99, we've got that DDT popping power as well. And that's pretty much it. That's the towers that I wanted to show you guys, but of course we have to beat this game, so let's decide what's the most optimal thing for us for the rest of the game here. Should we use an overused tower? I don't know. I feel like I can't use a pod. That's kind of annoying. You know what? Let me think about this for a second. To be honest, I cannot think of another tower that I think is straight up super underutilized. That just nobody uses, and they're actually really good, because NinjaCube's done a pretty good job of making things pretty balanced, right? I mean, that's the point of the game. Balance things. But one thing that I think a lot of people still can do a better job with is a Carpet of Spikes. This is not a bad tower. It's $43,000, so I actually don't even know if we're going to be able to afford it today. If we can't, could probably maneuver around it and figure something out. But for right now, it's not a bad tower to have on the screen, even if we only have a 4th tier. And if I actually start to struggle here, we can swap to something else. But for now, it's all just about using some abilities here and there. I've got some pretty nice abilities, and one thing that I haven't used at all is pretty much any of Adora's abilities. Just kind of just been ignoring those things. But we're dominating. There's like no issues whatsoever so far. And I think I might actually be able to afford this guy. If we can get up before round 98, that would be awesome. If we can get before round 99, though, that's good enough for me, because honestly, the bad Bloons is the only thing that scares me at this point. Alright, round 95 is officially here. One of the toughest rounds in the game, if you ask me. And with this combo, things are going pretty gosh darn fan-frickin-tastic. Alright, let's go for this ability. Let's just, like, time him a little bit here. And I think we'll finish him off with Adora's last little bit here. And bam, frickin' Zam, man, 95 is done. 96 is coming out, a pretty beefy amount of Bloons, but just does not seem to matter to us. 97 is probably going to be mildly difficult. But the main thing that I'm actually curious about is who has the most pops at the end of the game. Is it going to be Glade Lord, Super Strom, Juggernaut? What? No, it couldn't be Juggernaut, but it could be any of these guys, really. Probably going to be Glade Lord, though. All right, let's go like this, and this. And then we are going to get the Carpet Spikes here, but on round 98, not during round... Yeah, during round 98, not before. All right, I'm actually just going to use this Ball of Light here, because these Bloons are kind of scary. And we're gonna use this Carpet... oh my god, I can't talk today. We're going to use this Super Strom. Once we see the Zone Gods get right around us, and bam, shazam, let's buy that Carpet of Spikes. Give me that money. Carpet of Spikes is up. We got an extra ability here. Let's use Adora's ability to clean these guys up. And even with that, we should be able to take down round 98 pretty easily, and then round 99 should be a freaking breeze. Breezy. Easy. Cover, girl. All right, round 99. And finish off this bad balloon, baby. Finish it off. Nice and easy, like, and I didn't even have to micro my Plasma Accelerator at all. All right, yeah, that was pretty easy. Like almost too easy, to be completely honest. Yeah, things just kind of went down. And, oh, the Glade Lord did have the most pops, kind of by a lot. So let's check him out really quickly. Super Strom with a whopping 305,000. Believe it or not, that actually seems a little bit low to me for how much it looked like he was just exploding things. Plasma Accelerator with 350k. For the price, that's not bad at all. Cannon didn't do much pops, but he was more of a support tower, as weird as that is. Adora with 130,000. Seems fair for a hero that honestly didn't even get to pop things all that much because we're popping them so frickin' quickly. This guy with 219,000 pops for the money we spent. That is awesome. Straight up awesome. Whoa, I'm saying awesome, really weird. And then the Juggernaut, even with a simple little Juggernaut, we got 75,000 pops here, compared to our lowly Dart Monkey of 627. But that's all, guys. That's all I'm going to have. I'm not going to play late game or anything like that. We showed you the 5 most underrated towers in the game. Let me know what your thoughts are on your 5 most underrated towers in the game, and whether or not you think I just juiced this up with super awesome, amazing towers that actually everybody uses all the time, which I guess might be possible. But if you guys enjoyed, press that like button, subscribe, and of course, have a super duper delicious day.